Hey guys, let's trade the charts today. Let's see what we can see and then trade what we can see rather than trade what's not in view. So it's Friday the 11th of April. So see a trade and then trade it. So don't trade anything that you can't see. Like, we're going to follow price action and we're going to see where it takes us. So this is the Bitcoin chart at the moment, Bitcoin US dollar. So if I go to the daily, we'll chart it out on the daily. So as you can see, it's still trending downwards, Bitcoin. That's the downward so as you can see, there's a red trend, downward trend line, which it still can't break above, and it's in this wedge pattern heading downwards. So until we kind of like know what's happening with Trump tariffs and you know how that bears, you can see that it's literally just within this channel wedge and it hasn't really broken out of it. So we're just bouncing off of around about 81, 82 to 83k, and it's just bouncing between there and 74. So that's it on the daily. And there is this thing where it's called a box theory, which makes everything a little bit easier to know with price action if it's heading upwards or downwards or just sideways. So if I mark those up now, then you can see what I'm on about. So first of all, if I remove some of these lines that I've had in before, if we just get rid of these first, and as I say, this is trade what you can see. So don't go about trading things that you can't see, just trade what you can see in front of you. That's the easiest way to do price action, and that's the easiest way to not go against the grain and basically not go against the trend and always be trending and trading in the right direction instead of getting stopped out. So let's mark this this chart up for Bitcoin. So I've still got support and resistance in these rectangles, white rectangle boxes that you can see here. These ones, if I can highlight them. So these are still the support and resistance between, where is it here, between 90 up to its all-time highs, heading beyond 100. So what we can do with the box theory is and that shout out to the rumors, they're really great at like showing people this box theory. So literally all it is you box the previous day action and today's price action, and maybe you can go one day back, but we'll just stick with we'll do 3 days, so then we're kind of like covered, because Bitcoin can be quite volatile. So if you block off this one and this one, so that was the day 2 days before, and then we'll block off yesterday's price action for the day, and then we'll block off today's price action for today, and then we'll change the colors on this so it's easier for you to see. So the outer ones, we'll leave those as white, and then the inner ones, yesterday's one, we'll leave that as blue, and then for today's one we'll leave that as pink, so that we know we're visualizing that for today. Because that pink one for today is pretty much matching the day before's action. We won't bother with that. So I'll mark this back to blue. So the blue was yesterday's action, that red candle there, that middle one, that red middle candle. So that green one is the third day action, second day action is the blue, and today's action is in the pink. So we'll now move into the 4 hour. The moving averages I've got on here is basically the SMA, simple moving average for 50 days. If it's above or below that, you know if it's trending, if it's an uptrend or downtrend. And then VWAP is basically the volume weighted average, so we can follow that to see you know, if it kind of reaches that for a turnaround. So let's move into 30 minutes. So regardless like what time frame you're in, these box theory works quite well, because literally you can see, if I go back to the 4 hour, you can see in the 4 hour that we're still below the red trending trend line, which is going downwards. We're still below that, hasn't broken above it yet. There was a double bottom, a W-shaped double bottom, which made it bullish, which sent it back up to 83, but then that moves over, so it's come back down and now it's going back up again. So it's kind of, you could say there is like a cup and handle forming, but then it's really all dependent on the news. It's kind of news driven at the moment, the way Bitcoin's moving. So on this 4 hour, if you follow the box theory, the outer box, the white one, shows you the range of how high it can go within a day for the previous day before. And yesterday's price action is within the blue dots. So the range within the blue dots is for yesterday's price action. So today it is following that range still. It's still within yesterday's price range, if you see what I'm saying. So if we go to the 1 hour chart, you can see it's still following that price action. It's still ranging between the blue dots. So that's yesterday's price action, seems to still hold. So if you were to take, if you were to follow price action right now, it's at 81, but it's staying above VWAP, and it's also staying above the 50-day moving average. So it is on an uptrend. However, it's hitting its peak because 83 was yesterday's price action. I mean, the day before's price action. Yesterday was 82, so it could retest that and then make a move back down. But wherever you are at the top, you want to be selling. Wherever you are at the bottom, you want to be buying up. So it's a case of seeing, if it was to flush anymore, it would have to break below VWAP and break below the SMA, the 50-day moving average. Then it will be heading back down. So it's all news driven. We have to just wait to see what the news offers. Even on a 15-minute chart, it follows the rule pretty well. I mean, you can have like an internal range whereby you take the highs and lows of the internal. I would box this out. So if I was trading on the 15-minute chart, which some people do like to trade on the 15, you can box this, and then you can just play between that that range within that box, up and down like a ping pong, like up down. You can play within that range. Or if you trade within the 5-minute, it still works nicely. Or if you trade within the 3-minute, it still works, or the 1-minute. So you can get some quick scalps in. Like here on the 1-minute chart, you can see that it's still just forming the range in that blue box. Can you see? At the moment it's working its way back up, but you can have some price action. You can have some levels where you can start taking profits by looking left to see how high it can go. So at the moment it's making its way up, but then it could stop at around about this level here, 82,332. That could be a level where it could level off and decide, you know, it doesn't want to go any higher. It could have a pullback. Normally, anytime you draw these ranges, these box theories, it's always good to see where the middle, where it cuts in the middle, because that's where you should never really place a trade, like never diddle in the middle, basically. So if you're going to take a trade, I would hold off, because it's heading towards the middle, and you're not really going to get much of a gain if you're, you know, only halfway through the actual, like if you were to trade this, you would have been better off trading down here. You would have been better off buying low and selling high, and then if you wait for it to go all the way to the top, then sell high and then buying back low. So that's how you make, you know, the difference, you know, the arbitrage between the top and the bottom. So at the moment it looks as though it's kind of like it's trying to make its way back up. So we can keep an eye on Bitcoin to see if it decides to try and make its way all the way up to the top, or if it's just, you know, a pullback to keep going further down, or it can just basically consolidate at this level here. So there's always like inside, you know, you can like box things within a box and then trade within that range. So if I was to draw another box here, if you were trading the 1 minute, then you can see between this high and this low. And then if I change this to a different color, so you can, I highlight it here. So here you can see, and if you mark out the middle level of this box here, where there's support and resistance, where support turns to resistance, let's get my horizontal ruler out here. Okay, so now if you have a mini box within a bigger box, you can just range it. So here you can just play this from, at the moment it's just diddling in the middle, so it could just consolidate, so it's not really much of a trade. So literally, if you see a trade, then trade it. If you don't see anything like here, you're not really seeing very much. It'll be a quick scalp if you see anything. But where the moving average just kind of like, you know, runs in between the price action, then it's just consolidating, then you're not really, it's not really giving you anything of a move. It's just a range within a range within a range, which isn't really going to help you. You need a solid, you know, uptrend or downtrend in order to make any significant gains. So let's move on. That's Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the VIX today. So the VIX is still quite high. It's you know, it's between, it's still under 50, but then it's still above, you know, the normal 20. So the VIX is still quite volatile. That's on the 1 minute. If I go to the daily on the VIX, there you can see yeah, it's still sitting quite high and it's making its way up, so it's really volatile. So if we go to the SPY, the S&P 500, you can see on the daily the SPY's kind of, it had, you know, it's crazy moves today and yesterday, but today it looks as though it's heading back down again, because even though there is a relief in the, you know, in the actual tariffs for 90 days or for however long, it's still, you know, it's still there. Nobody really knows what's going to be the outcome of all of this. So it's been a relief rally, but obviously now it's still trending back down. So it's red candles on the day. So again, we can just mark up. If I just remove all these other gubbins that I had before, we'll simplify the chart. So I still have the 50-day moving average and the VWAP on here. So for the daily, we'll mark out the day's highs and lows for the last 3 days, and then we'll trade within those ranges. So it's easy. It's a very easy strategy to follow. It's easy for you to know like where to enter and exit, so you get the most bang for your buck, basically. Okay, so mark those out as such, and you can change the colours so you know where you're at with them. And then this will be blue, and then we'll keep purple for SPY. Okay, so if we go to the 1 hour chart, hang on, did I not change one of the colours? Yeah, didn't change that one. So on the S&P 500, it's still ranging. It's never broken out of, you know, the highs and lows between 490 and 550. So at the moment, the SPY is basically consolidating between 520 and 530. Its average true range every day is about $5 to $10, 10 in most volatile, 5 on normal days. That's its average true range, how much it can move in a day. Up here you can see there is a gap to be filled, so at some point this gap needs to be filled. So the SPY will have to make its way up here, up to 545, to fill out this gap that it's left. And then, so on the hourly chart, it's just ranging still between 520 and 530, and it's below VWAP. However, it is above the 50-day moving average, so it's still wanting to go up. There was the double. Here was the let me just show you with an arrow. So here was a double bottom here that it produced to make that move up. So if we go to a 15-minute chart, at the moment it's currently sat at 521. If we go down to a 3-minute chart, we can see if we can do any. So this is quite, the box series is quite good, because you can see on the 15-minute chart you can do like from one end to the other. You can go up, trade it up, trade it down, trade it back up, trade it back down again, and then have the middle as kind of, you know, a place to take where it could kind of, you know, hit before it goes further up or further down. It's kind of like midpoint, as kind of like, you know, your gauge of how much momentum is left in the trade for it to go higher or lower. So at the moment we're at the bottom of this range, so I would wait until you get a signal for it to go higher and then make a trade back up. So if you're going to do intraday trading, this would be where you would come in and do a buy. So you could jump in at this point and put in you know, a call, or buy this back up to 530, or just even back up to the midpoint at 524. That's a $2 move there. So you could do like more than one contract, and then, you know, you make your gains there. But you could just play this all day, so it ping pongs back and forth. So in the 1 minute, it's quite clear, isn't it, with the box theory, like how to trade this with price action. You don't really need to look at, you know, levels for support and resistance, because it's just heading from one end back to the other. Okay, so let's have a look at GameStop, see what GameStop's up to. Yeah, this is also just kind of like hanging around, because until there's like a major crash, like everything's just keeps tanking with the S&P 500 and with all the stocks and indices, then I don't think GameStop will run until that happens, and that's what it's waiting for. So until there's like a serious drop, then GameStop, I think, is just hanging around for that. This is still hanging around at $18. Let's have a look at Coinbase. So right now, all these stocks are basically on sale. There's like, they've all tanked almost 50%. So literally you could like pick up a lot of bargains at the moment. But if the SPY keeps going down, then it's just DCA in but downwards, so you can get really, you know, good price for everything that you're buying. Yeah, everything's pretty much the same. So if you trade futures, it's also the same technique. You use the box theory to trade futures as well, the MES or the MNQ. And it will give you, because you're literally just trading what you see, and you basically are trading price action. Palantir, let's have a quick look at Palantir. So Palantir is still tanking, as the SPY is tanking, so is Palantir. There's lots of sellers at the $90 mark, and there seems to be a lot of buyers down here at the 85. So it looks as though the range from Palantir is between 85 to 90, and it's just going to ping pong back and forth. Right guys, that's just a quick update. Trading what you see, and then just take the trade whether it goes up and down, but literally just trade price action, guys. Okay, catch you later.